to the weather emergency in southeast Queensland this morning, where the electorates of some of our leading MPs are being inundated with heavy rain. The Treasurer Jim Chalmers is in Logan, which has received hundreds of millimetres of rainfall, while Dixon, the home of Peter Dutton, is threatened with the same. And the opposition leader, who's trapped at home in Debra, joins us on the phone now. Peter, thanks for your time this morning, as we're seeing some pictures I believe you might have filmed this morning. How are things outside?
Good morning, Pete. Well, there are a lot of people who are waking up to a flooded bedroom or lounge room or backyard this morning. There's been a hell of a lot of rain overnight. So it was as predicted, and it's, no less shocking than what we see in, other parts of northern New South Wales and the Gold Coast, etc., which have all received this downpour. And hopefully it recedes quickly, but at the moment, a few of us are trapped at home, including ourselves. Fortunately, our house is fine, but the water's up over our front gate. So that's the reality at the moment. And the emergency service workers, the council workers, are doing an amazing job, Pete. But a lot of families, a lot of businesses who are really heavily impacted again this morning.
Are you concerned that could rise in closing you even more?
Well, the amount of rain that we've had overnight, it bucketed down all night. The night before that, we were just awake all night waiting for a tree to land through the house because the winds were just phenomenal, and there was a lot of rain then as well. So obviously the ground is soaked, and any additional rain just makes the rivers and creek systems rise very quickly. BOM's predicting that this sort of washes through over the course of the next few days, and hopefully that's the case. Obviously, Harvey Bay was really heavily impacted. Some fast water response teams up there. So, let's hope the system moves through as quickly as possible and people can get back to businesses. But a lot of schools and businesses closed to business, and a lot of schools and businesses closed today. Well,
we hope you and your family and the community does okay until things recede, Pete. Well, I've got you on the line, though. I wouldn't mind asking you about a few other things, if you can. News poll this morning, not so good for you and the party. The voters believe that you're not ready to govern. Have you got a response to that?
Well, Pete, obviously we've been working on policy over the last few years. We've announced some of that around energy. We think the government's energy policy is crippling the economy at the moment. People see it in their food prices. They see it in electricity and gas prices as well. And we'll have a lot more to say about that as we get closer to the election. But all of these critics, most of them from the Labor Party, who demand our policies to be released now, I think are fully of the understanding that, people move on very quickly. So we'll announce our policies closer to the campaign, but it will be squarely focused on helping people recover from what has been a horrible 3 years for our country, particularly economically, but also from a safety perspective as well. And we'll release those policies as we see fit, and we think they will be well received by the public and understand that people want that detail, but we'll get it out in due course.
What about the WA election? Are you troubled about what that will mean for you federally?
Well, again, Pete, if you have a look at a seat like or an area like Collie, where we've announced one of the 7 nuclear sites, the zero emissions nuclear sites, which is designed to bring down power prices. There was a 20% swing to us in that seat. And I think that's because a lot of workers realise that basically they're buggered, like their jobs are gone under Labor and there's no future for that town. So regional areas, outer metropolitan areas are the ones who are biggest hit by Labor's economic mismanagement. And it's a mixed bag in WA. There are 12% swings to us, but that in some cases hasn't been enough to win those seats back from what was the McGowan landslide. And in any normal circumstance, talking about 12 or 20% swings in seats would be recorded as a massive landslide. But of course, it comes off the back of the absolute massacre that was the McGowan effect. And there will be a couple of elections to recover from that for the WA Labor Party. But the other point that I'd make is that Anthony Albanese is no Mark McGowan, and Anthony Albanese is no Roger Cook. Roger Cook has been standing up for the people of WA essentially the same way as we have against the Albanese government policies, the nature positive mining negative bill and the other decisions that Tanya Plibersek and Anthony Albanese have made, which have really been about Greens in inner city Sydney and Melbourne. against the interests of people in WA.
Just in 30 seconds, if you can, because I'm about to pass over to Laura, Peter, I'm going to ask you, you came under some criticism for going to a Justin Hems party last week, leaving Queensland. Why'd you go to that?
Well, Pete, it wasn't a party. It was a fundraising dinner, and the Prime Minister and I are doing them around the country at the moment. I'd received a briefing in the morning, went down. I had diary commitments, including lunch with an Archbishop and a number of meetings otherwise in Sydney. I flew home on the first flight on Wednesday morning back into my electorate, and the event obviously hadn't started by then, didn't start until Friday. So I think people who are using that for political advantage in the time of a natural disaster, frankly, that's a poorer reflection on them than it is on me, and I think people recognise that.
Peter Dutton, really appreciate you joining us on the phone. Thank you so much, and again, we do hope you and the family and the property and your community is okay.